शुरू हो गया।
सी कैसे आया?
रिवाइज था।
This is what we corrected. It's very bad, no? This is यहाँ तो बहुत ही खराब है।
I start the Mangalacharan. Hari Om Appa.
हरि ओम।
Yam nirvikalpam nirakaram ekam niranandamaనందమద్వైతం param nirgunam nirvishesham niriham parabrahma bhuttam ganesham bhajema parabrahma bhuttam ganesham saraswati namastubhyam varade kamarupyarambham karishyami bhavatu me sada या श्रद्धा धारणा मेधा वाग्देवी विधिवल्लभा भक्त जिह्वाग्र सदना क्षमादि व्याख्या प्रकटित पर ब्रह्म तत्त्वं युवानम् वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलित चिन्मुद्रमानन्दम् आत्मारामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिम् व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कातराजुहाव प्रेति तन्मयतया तर्वोऽभिनेः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मानति स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं व्याप्तं जगत्येन चिदात्मभावात् रज्ज्वा यथा हि विचराचरं यत् अन्यस्य सर्वं च सदात्मभावे स्वयं समस्तं च बभूवयस्तु निस्सङ्गनिर्मुक्तिपदं प्रपद्य ब्रह्मात्मभावेन विराजितो यः श्रीसौम्यकाशीशाय तस्मै नमः स्वामितपो समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं परं तेजोमयं नित्यं ज्ञानप्रभाकरं यस्यैककिरणादेव नष्टा विद्यातमस्य जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा काम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धर्मप्रोज्झितकैटवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम् वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो ह्यवरुध्यते प्रकृतिभिः तत्क्षणात् गमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरः भावुकाः नाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च Paramahംsaspādita charana kamala janamānasa nivāsāya Amacha. Hari Om. Before we begin today's session, I want to make a dedication to a friend, a very, very wonderful human being, Brahmachari, Venkat Chaitanya, who passed away on Guru Purnima Day 2 days ago. I was with him when he was a student at Sandipani. I knew him from those days. Very, very, still very kind, very sweet person. Always tried to help other people, always tried to do things for others, used to give people head massages at the ashram. And always tried not to have any demands. So I'd like to dedicate our Bhagavatam study to him and pray for his Sadgati, invoke his grace, Bhagavan's grace on him. And that grace is the theme of this 6th canto. The title of the canto is Poshanam. Poshanam means nourishment. For the body, food, air, water, sunlight, nourishment. But for us as jivas, for our Atma, Poshanam tad anugraha. His grace and grace alone is what nourishes us. We may think that what happens to us in life is very wonderful or very tragic, very rewarding, very pleasurable, very joyous or disastrous, miserable. We may question why we have to go through all this. But it is all part of a plan. Bhagavan works to bring jivas back to him. His love is such. His goal is to somehow or other bring us back to him as quickly as possible. The most direct route. Sometimes that's a painful route. It might mean going through a lot of difficult experiences because we all have so much of tattva, rajas, tamas in us. Those vasanas have to all be exhausted. They have to come out. Those karmas have to be faced and vanquished. And so when Bhagavan decides to bring us back to him, he does it, but he does it in his own strange, playful way. As the Bible says, he moves in mysterious ways, his miracles to. I have just joined. Moves in mysterious ways. Atma Darshan. So, if we have to, through our sadhana, reach that stage of purity and then attain divinity, it is a long, long, tedious process, lifetime. One by one, uprooting the vasanas, facing them, overcoming them. Who are tapas or sadhana is a very difficult task, and only very few exalted yogis are able to accomplish it at all. For the rest of us, only his grace can take us. And the stories of this canto show us how that grace works through the example of the life of Ajamila and later on the life of um, Vritrasura. Chitraketu Vritrasura, he takes various names over various lifetimes. And we see how Bhagavan has a plan to take that jiva from one body to another body, to exhaust all the vasanas and finally bring it. It's one of the most beautiful cantos. So it begins with Parikshit Raja asking a question. He says, at the end of the fifth canto, Sukadevji, you described various lokas, the heavens, the earth, and then you ended the canto with a description of the various levels of hell, the different kinds of punishment and suffering that happen. Now, please tell me how people can escape that. Are we doomed to go through all that pain and suffering, or is there a way to get out of it? So here Shukadevji responds, of course, there is a way, because whatever papas are done in this lifetime, if we do the prayashchita karmas that are prescribed in the Shastras, different rituals, different activities, sometimes charity, sometimes pujas, sometimes certain pilgrimages, whatever it is, in order to nullify our papas, if we do the prayashchita, then the papa is removed, then you don't have to go to them. This was actually a test. Parikshit Raja said, you may be right, but this is not a proper answer, because you or I would have accepted it. Parikshit Raja thought further. He said, yes, prayashchitta is there, but that prayashchitta removes the papa, no doubt. But it does not remove the papa vasana. That desire, the inner tendency that drove that sinful activity is still there in us. Maybe that result, the consequences are warded off, but that desire, the inclination is still there. How do we then overcome that? Because otherwise it becomes Kunjara Shauchavat, he says, like an elephant that takes a bath and then comes out and rolls in the mud again. So we'll do all the prayashchitta and again do the same papa. So Shukadevji says, very good. You have hit the point. Because he says, karma can never be destroyed by karma. This is a very, very important point. Karma can never destroy another karma. It may negate or mitigate its effect, but finally, each karma will have its own karma phala. And if we try to do various prayashchitta karmas, keep in mind, if we don't do those karmas correctly, then there is something called pratyavaya dosha. So that itself will incur certain results, certain sins. So it is not a reliable means of overcoming the effects of karma. The ultimate way to destroy karma is only knowledge. The ultimate prayashchitta, Bhagavatam says, prayashchittam vimarshanam. Knowledge is prayashchitta. No karma, no pilgrimage, no tapas, no mantra, no japa, nothing. Knowledge, knowing yourself to be one with the Lord, that is prayashchitta. Knowing that I am not this body, this mind, this intellect that has sinned, that is prayashchitta. And for that, he tells the story of Ajamila. Ajamila was a very, very good person. A tapasvi Brahmana living a very, very austere, very sacred life, doing his sadhana, doing his rituals, meditation, japa, study. This was his whole, nothing else. Only study, teaching, maybe performing rituals for people. And that's how he was carrying on. Very, very good person. One day while going somewhere, I think to collect flowers for a puja, he went to the forest. And there he saw a prostitute and a man enjoying in the forest. not even worried that they are in public, not even worried that there are people around. Possibly might be seen, but they were just there. Now seeing this, he averted his eyes and walked off, but the vision was still there in his mind. And somewhere it sparked a desire. He said, that looked like fun. Maybe even, even I can try it. That desire started coming in. Immediately he recognized it. He tried his best to overcome that desire. He thought of all the shastras that he had learned, all the sadhanas. He tried to do this japa, that nothing helped. Sometimes when a vasana takes hold of us, it is like that. And see, if it is a desire we have created, we can overcome it. But if it's a desire that has been created by Bhagavan in us, then Bhagavan only has to find the solution. That's why Vishnu Sahasranama says Bhagavan is Kamaha Kamakrit. He is the creator of the Kama, the desire, and he is the destroyer of it also. Anyway, so he tried his best, but he could not. Finally, one day he went to that prostitute, and that was not the end of it. He brought her home to live with him permanently. He kicked out his own wife, and he kept that prostitute at home. And that prostitute started demanding money, started demanding jewelry, this, that, luxuries. To get all that, he had to resort to crime. He started doing robberies, kidnapping, etc. Soon he became the don of that place. And like this, his life went by. They said he had 10 children from that prostitute. The 10th one was born maybe when he was around 8 years old. Who knows if it was his child, first of all, or he had to take all kinds of Viagra and other medicines in order to have a child at that age. He gave birth. She gave birth to that 10th child. And that child was very cute, very beautiful, very smiling. And that child's name was Narayan. It's very strange that a don like him should name the child Narayan. Bhagavatam does not explain it, but explanation is given by our Akhandananji Maharaj. He weaves a whole story around it. He says one day, one Mahatma came to that town and asked somebody, who is the most noble person, who is the most saintly person here, I would like to stay with them. Now that person was a little naughty. So he said, oh, that Ajamila is the most saintly person, go and stay with him. The Swami went and he spent the night there. Of course, he knew that this place, something is off, all that. But then he saw that child, he spent time playing with the child. He asked, what is this child's name? And they said, we have not yet kept a name. Why don't you only name the child? So he gave the name Narayana with the idea that at least that Nama will save this man from his sin. So that name Narayana was given, and all the time this Ajamila was calling that child. Narayana, come and eat with me. Narayana, come join me, let us drink. You drink milk, I'll drink whatever I'm drinking. Let us drink together. Narayana, let us go for a walk. Narayana, let us sleep. All the time Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. Like this, he reached about 86, 87 years of age. The child is 5, 6 years old, playing outside. And this Ajamila was sitting in the easy chair, the hall. And at that time, his hour of death arrived. Yamadutas came there and they lassoed his soul and started pulling it out with the Yamapasha. And he was so terrified seeing their appearance, very scary. And he called out, Narayana, come here fast, to that child. But the moment he called out Narayana, that is, that Naraya started, before the Na finished, stop it! One voice came from there, looked up and saw there were 3 Vishnu Parshadas with 4 hands, with pita and mala and dark blue skin, very good looking. And they looked sternly at the Yamadutas and said, what are you doing? Stop it. Yamaduta said, They looked at each other. They thought this must be a quite a advanced person. We should not mess with these people. Period. Who are you, sir? Why are you stopping us from doing our duty? They said, who are you? We are the servants of Lord Yama. Huh. And what are you doing? We are doing our duty. His life is over. We are taking his soul to Yamaloka to be judged and punished according to his sins. Oh, on what basis do you make that judgment? On the basis of dharma. And what is dharma? Tell me. Dharma is whatever is said in the Vedas is dharma. Whatever goes against that is adharma. That was their understanding. Okay, according to the Vedas, who is the person who should be punished? The person who has done sins. And the witnesses are all there. The 5 elements are witnesses. The Atma is witness. Yamaraja is witness. The earth is a witness. Everybody has seen him doing all these sins. Therefore, he will be punished for it. They say, does not the same Veda say that if you have done the prayashchitta for your sins, then you need not face the punishment? Yes, but he has not done any prayashchitta and all. Till the last minute, he was like that only. Even now, he had the whiskey bottle in his hand. He has done the prayashchitta. You don't understand what is prayashchitta. Right now, he said Narayana Nama. No? It removes all sins. What greater prayashchitta is required? Said that he was not calling Bhagavan. He was calling his son Narayana. That will not come in this account. But the Vishnuduta said, he may not have known it was Bhagavan's name, but Bhagavan knew. Bhagavan knew it was Bhagavan's name. So the moment he called, Bhagavan responded. He sent us outside. He has manifested already in that fellow's heart. So now you are not touching him. You don't go anywhere near this fellow. Go back. And if you have any doubt, ask Yamaraja. Out of fear, they went away. Ajamila looked at the Vishnu Parshadas, did Namaskaram, and he was about to inquire who they are. They just smiled at him and vanished. Now, in that moment of satsang, and Krishna Vibrahmana says that the satsang is not only the vision of the Vishnu Parshadas, it is also the vision of the Yamadutas. Because we should not think that Yamadutas were fools. They are great advanced souls. And this conversation between them, it is not that the Yamadutas did not know the dharma. But this whole discussion, this whole meeting, this one of them trying to pull the Atma, one of them blocking, all that, it was all one drama set up in order to rectify this ajam. So through that satsang with the Yamadutas, the Vishnu Parshadas, that few moments, he forgot all about that family, that child, that prostitute, everything. With total disgust with that life, he walked off, went to Haridwara, sat down for Akhanda Nama Japa, and just kept chanting Narayana Nama. And within very few days, those same Parshadas came again, blessed him with a new divine body and took him to Vaikuntha. This is the story. Now, there is a lot to unpack here. We may do all the sins in the world and we say Nama, it is enough. Will that undo all the sins? Yes, if we really believe in the power of that Bhagavan Nama, then it will. How it works is, remember, all our Shastras say again and again that if we call out to Bhagavan once, we surrender to Bhagavan once, we are his. We say Bhagavan Nama, we are liberated. If we believe that, and we know that we have all said Bhagavan Nama how many countless times in our lifetime. If we really believe that Bhagavan Nama gives liberation, with faith if we said it, we are liberated. And if we believe we are liberated, that means what? We cease to identify with the body, mind, intellect, with all our desires, with all our raga dveshas. That identity changes from this limited entity to Paramatma, then we are liberated. As we saw in Kapila Gita, the one who identifies as liberated is liberated. The one who identifies as bound is bound. It's all a play of the mind. If the mind has accepted that we are liberated, we are liberated. That's the end of the story. So that is the secret of Bhagavan Nam. But it requires Shraddha. Now, this guy did not have Shraddha like that. He was calling his son to serve. But remember, before this, he had done so many punya karmas. He was living that tapasvi's life. How many times he would have chanted Narayana Nama? How many times he would have said shlokas of Sharanagati? How many times he would have cried to Bhagavan, I am not able to attain you with all my sadhana. Please come. Please come and rescue me. And Bhagavan's vrata is simple. Sakradeva prapannaya tavasmi iti yachate abhayam sarva bhutebhyo dadamyetat pratamam. He has sworn, not Krishna, because Krishna we cannot trust so much, but Rama has sworn that if somebody comes and surrenders to me and says, I am yours, just once with all their heart, after that I will take care of them. Whatever happens to them after that is my responsibility. I give them abhaya. Abhaya does not mean lack of fear in this world. Abhaya does not mean that there will no more be fear of being robbed. There will no more be fear of death. Nothing will threaten you. There will be no problems in life. That is not abhaya. The abhaya in its absolute sense. Abhayam hi vai Brahma, the Upanishad says. As long as there is duality, there is fear. Once there is that Brahmanubhuti, the experience of oneness, fearlessness. That fearlessness, Bhagavan says, I will give. And so, now this man was living a very pure life. So there was no opportunity for Rajasic, Tamasic Vasanas to come out at all. Bhagavan created the situation where he saw that Dasi and that man in the forest. Bhagavan created that, brought out that desire in him. Bhagavan made him live out all his Rajasic, Tamasic desires and get it out. And then when he was flushed clean, then Bhagavan sent that Mahatma to give the Diksha of Narayana Nama. And finally, when the last moment came, he may have called the son. Bhagavan remembered him. Bhagavan remembered him. Therefore, as soon as he called the name, he may have called the name thinking of that child. But the next moment, Jnana, Vairagya arose in his heart. Because remember, if we say he has done so many papas, he has done so many punyas also. So that fellow also has to come at some point. At this moment, that punya fellow comes in the form of Narayana. We see it happen to Gajendra after many lifetimes. So it is no surprise that it happens in this. How many times we are doing something or other and suddenly Bhagavan Nama starts ringing in our mind? Doesn't it happen to us? That is Anugraha only. So really, I like the way Guruji puts it, that we see Bhagavan here making some excuse, any excuse to give liberation. And remember, it is not that the moment he said Bhagavan Nama, then again he was taken directly to Vaikuntha. He had to return. He had to do the tapas. He had to rise beyond even that sattva. And then Bhagavan gave a helping hand, the boost. What might have taken many lifetimes to overcome those vasanas, all of them Bhagavan brought out in one lifetime, finished it off. From the extreme of sattva to the extreme of rajas and tamas, everything was brought out and he was made clean. And then Bhagavan took him. There is also a view, even in Bhagavatam also, that this story is given to say that even without knowing, he has taken Bhagavan Nama. And it had such great effects. Imagine if we say it with knowledge. And haven't we all said it with knowledge? Again and again, so many times we say every day, I'm sure everybody here, every day we take Bhagavan Nam. With knowledge or as the name of some relative or other. So, all we have to do is believe that that Nama gives me. We are free already. Bhagavan has taken us in his lap. Now, whatever is happening to us, he may feel it is not great or it is wonderful, whatever it is. It is all his game in trying to pull us closer to him, to try to bring us back to him. And if we accept that, imagine how beautiful our life can be. Every moment we accept that this is Bhagavan's way of bringing us closer to him. If we are happy, it is Bhagavan's grace. If we are unhappy, it is his will, his way of bringing us. It is his yoga. Arjuna Vishada was a yoga. If we are depressed, miserable, suicidal, that is also Bhagavan's will and grace, his way of pulling us. And if we are not able to accept that, that is also his will. If we are listening to Bhagavatam and we are inspired, it is his will. If we don't, that is also his will. Everything, every moment, whatever is happening, every breath is his grace, it is his will. He is nourishing us with his love at every moment. If we may recognize that, see that, accept that, our experience, life, our view of life, very, very different. With that is the main thing to gain from this Ajahn. Never forget, Bhagavan is there for us. He has our back. Namata Purnamidam Nat Purnamudachyate Nasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate Shanti Shanti Harihi Om Harihi Pravisya Mamavachamimam Prasuttam Sanjeevayatyakhilashakti Yanshahastacharana-shravanatvagadhi pranam-namo bhagavate prayatukyam ayena vacha manasendriyaiva atmana va prakrite svabhavat yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanaaya Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jivanas. Hari Om. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful